So back in 2017/2018, I did DNA testing, and I'm going to be honest, I was expecting a lot more to come out of it. Um, I know that for especially international adoptees, DNA testing isn't that useful, but that did not prevent me from getting my hopes up. So in this video, I will be sharing my experiences with DNA testing and family searching and all of that stuff. This video is a recommendation/suggestion by a fellow adoptee, subscriber, friend, Grace. So this one's for you. So hi, if you are new here, my name is Lily and I was adopted from China when I was 6 months old. I am 26 years old now. I was raised by a white family and I share about my experiences as a transracial adoptee. I post videos every single week, so if that's something you're interested in, the subscribe button is right down there, and if you click the bell, you can get notified every time I post a new episode. But let's just get into the video. So when I started this whole advocacy journey, I also started delving into DNA testing. Before that, I wasn't really aware of like the commercial ones. Like I always saw the commercials around like Mother's Day and Father's Day because for some reason, like those are popular times to give DNA tests as gifts. But yeah, I was aware that for international adoptees, these tests aren't that useful because, like for me in China, they don't really have access to these tests. And it is, it can be overwhelming trying to figure out which test you should do. And, the tests aren't that cheap. Like, it's an investment, especially for young adoptees. And at the time, I was just starting graduate school. I do get paid a stipend to be in graduate school, but it's not a lot. And so my spending money is going towards other things, and a DNA test is usually not one of those. So yeah, it's overwhelming because you're trying to pick which DNA test to do, and then everybody's advising you to just do all of them because, the more databases you're in, the higher chances that someone from your biological family takes that random test and then you get matched. But like I said, DNA testing can get pricey and it's emotionally a big step because you're really starting to open the doors to searching. And then you also have to consider the fact like, oh, well, will they be, these companies selling my data? Will I be able to get health insurance because suddenly I'm marked as high risk for some sort of condition and that kind of thing? That's a personal choice that you have to make. That's information that you need to figure out if it's worth keeping completely private and never really delving into without the help of a medical doctor and geneticist, or if that's something you're, willing to give to these DNA testing sites. And so, yeah, I went into it pretty much knowing that I wasn't going to get like a match to a birth parent, but it was still disappointing when my closest relatives were like third and fourth cousins. Well, at the time, actually, it was fourth cousins. I just, in the last few months, connected with my closest relative, who's a third cousin, which is still very distant. And then, all of the relatives that I have that are close relatives are also Chinese adoptees. And so I'm going to be honest, like, it's not that helpful for me in terms of birth family searching because my closest relatives know just as little about their family trees as I do. As far as like, should parents DNA test for their children? I really have mixed feelings about this. Again, I'm not going to be helpful. I'm just going to say, you have to decide what's best for you and your family. I completely understand the argument that the sooner you start searching, the higher chances you have of finding someone. Because, like for me, it's been 26 years since I was relinquished. And so who knows where my biological family is now? Who knows if they're even interested in a reunion? Who knows any of that? But at the same time, yeah, I am a huge advocate for sharing your own story and being in charge of your own information. And your DNA and your genetics is extremely personal. And so I typically advise parents to say, to like, wait until their child can at least have as much of an understanding of what they're consenting to as possible. And even then, I'm like, okay, if you're going to do this for someone who still doesn't have a firm grasp on what they're giving, then the entire family needs to do it. DNA testing was emotional in the sense that I was finally taking more solid steps towards a birth family search. And I mean, every month when you get your little newsletter, like, hey, you have new DNA relatives, I'm like, is today the day? No, it's never the day. I don't know if the day will ever come. And I have slowly been adding my DNA to other databases. I've slowly been researching other tests I can do. But again, like, it can get expensive. And this is something that I feel like I should do for myself. And so, I have a flyer that's part of like a group poster flyer thing. And I think one of the like most humbling moments was the flyers are arranged in age order. And so the oldest is first. And for my province, I'm first. And I knew, like, when I talk about this channel, I say, I know I'm one of the older Chinese adoptees, and younger adoptees might need someone to create the resources, create the safe spaces. And so I'm taking on part of that challenge, and other older adoptees are taking on that challenge. But it was never that concrete until I looked at the flyers and realized, no, like, I am literally the oldest in this searching group, and I'm the oldest by a few years. I'm optimistic, but I keep my expectations low. Like, I don't want to totally get rid of the hope that I will ever, find my first family, but I try to stay realistic about it. And I try to look at the facts. And I think, it's hard, but I think I will be okay if I never find them. I've made it this far, and I'm at a certain point in my journey where, I'm comfortable with the fact that I was relinquished under the one-child policy. The family planning policies were strict. And so, I have compassion for my first family, and I have compassion for the other first families that were going through this. And I don't want to say like fate or whatever is involved, but sometimes it's just like a sad reality that I have to accept that, hey, this is really hard. You might not ever find them. And your entire journey is a circumstance of this one thing. And so, I mean, that's something that I go back and forth on. It's like some days it's really hard to accept that. Some days it's easier. Today is one of those easier days. But that doesn't mean like, oh, I'm going to take my flyer down and I'm going to try and pull my DNA back from all of these databases. Like, no, I keep the feelers out there because I am always still hopeful, but I just am not cynical, but a bit more realistic about my situation. I think one day I do want to return to China and maybe try and do my own kind of family searching on foot there. It seems way more effective based on the reunions I've been seeing, but I need to find the time and money to do that because, like I said at the beginning of this video, I am a graduate student, which means all of my time goes towards the lab right now, and I get paid a very small stipend for that. And so, I think when I'm a bit older, I've graduated, I have a real job, and I can financially support my trip myself, then that's something I want to do. But for now, I'm okay with the way things are. I talked about this a little in my wedding video, but the pressure to find them is a bit higher now because I am planning a wedding, and I just keep like thinking about our guest list. I'm like, man, You know, it'd be super cool if I knew my first family and I could put them on the guest list, but I don't. And so that pressure's there. I'm sure once I move past this wedding, the pressure will ease up a bit, but then of course other life events happen and the pressure comes back. And so, yeah, that's just one of my realities of being an adoptee. DNA testing was kind of cool because I like science and genetics. Also, kind of disappointing. I don't want to say it was a waste of money, but at the same time, I have no close relatives, and the medical aspects of the DNA testing is kind of like bleh. So it kind of was a waste of money. It wasn't, but it was. Yes and no. You know, that's how adoption is. DNA testing, it's extremely personal. It's something that you need to figure out for yourself. And if you're a parent trying to decide if you do DNA testing for your kid, I just really am of the belief that people should be able to consent to things they're doing, especially when it's as personal as DNA testing and birth family searching. You know, I know everyone has good intentions with this, but you really have to consider the position the adoptee is in and what information they're going to be giving up, because we already have so little information about ourselves. We are actively having to fight for ownership for our own stories. That's my spiel on DNA testing and a little bit about how I feel in terms of my own DNA testing and birth family searching. As the case with every video that I post, there are 2 video recommendations that are specifically for you. Like, the algorithm tracks what you watch, which is creepy, but it recommends videos specifically for you. They are right here. So click on one of those to see more. But that's all for now. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.